Hey, good morning, Chavra. Today is Friday, Teves, the 20th day of the month of Teves, on page 91 in your Chayenu booklet. And we continue in chapter 13 in Tanya. Yesterday we said that the Beinani has his ups and downs because during the davening, his neshama is filled with a fiery flame of love for God. Alter Rebbe now goes on to explain that nevertheless, the Beinani's love, relative to his standing, is considered a true form of service. Just because it fluctuates doesn't mean it's not emes. It is. Midas avazuhu amura. This love that we talked about yesterday, attained by the Beinani during davening, where he controls his animal soul. If you compare it to a tzaddik who serves Hashem in perfect truth, and you don't call that, just 1 second, then you wouldn't call that. So I got distracted. Okay. When compared to the standard of a tzaddik who serves God in perfect truth, and this love is not called true service. Right after davening, it dissipates. The minute you walk out of shul and you get distracted and you get frustrated and you say something you shouldn't have said, you think something you shouldn't have thought, where was that love? So it's fleeting. The pasuk says in Proverbs 12:19, it says the language, literally the word is sfas emes, the lip, but the language of truth shall be established forever, but the tongue of falsehood is only momentary. So if the Beinani's love is only momentary during the davening, where he's all fired up and he's thinking of Hashem, and he has a passionate moment during Shema and Shemana Esrei, but then afterwards he gets all distracted and he starts to lose himself. So then it's not true. Then it's not everlasting. But if you want to look at the Beinani, yes, it was a moment of truth that he really felt passionately strong love for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, it might leave him after davening, but that doesn't mean it wasn't true at the moment. Ish kefi madregas Beinani. Don't sell yourself short. Yes, it was good. Is the tzaddik on a higher level? Yeah, we know that already. Don't make us feel bad. During the davening and during learning, we talk and feel a strong love to Hashem, each according to his level. Our love too, when I say ours, let's talk about the Beinani, not mine. Their love too, which they possess only during davening, we could again use this pasuk that the language of truth, which shall be established forever, means their love is true and permanent, though it only manifests during davening. Why? Since their divine soul has the power to reawaken this love constantly whenever it gathers strength, during prayer, day after day, every time, it seems like, maybe you had a bad day, maybe you got to sleep late, maybe there was all sorts of difficulties, challenges, frustrations, anger, resentments, jealousies, lustful thoughts, whatever the Yetzer Hara threw at you, and you succumbed to all of them last night. But you still woke up early, and you came to Minyan, and you davened Hashem from the depths of your heart. That means that it is true, because you keep on going back to it every single day. Each person according to his level. and his capacity. So we see that even though it's not maybe throughout the day, but it's constant because every day he davens again and again and again, trying to get closer to Hashem. Yet one difficulty remains. How is it possible for the same level of service to be considered untrue by the standards of a tzaddik? When it comes to the Beinoni, that it is considered true. The truth is the attribute of Yaakov. The verse says, what does it say here? The verse says, you give truth to Yaakov, who is called the middle bolt, which secures everything from one end to the other. Just as the middle bolt of the Mishkan, the tabernacle, secured and bolted together all the boards by passing through them all. In spiritual terms, this means that the attribute of truth of emes passes from the highest level to the lowest level. So while that level is not the truth of the tzaddik, it's the truth, it's the reality of the Beinoni. In each level that it goes and passes through, it connects. Remember, we spoke about the pillar, the pillar of having our feet planted firmly in the ground, on the ground, and the top of the pillar goes to the heavens. So they're both connected. One's down by the feet, and one's by the top. But still, they're all truth. Just the Beinoni's reality is that he's going to have to struggle every day. And the tzaddik is on a higher level. It becomes the point and quality of that level's attribute of truth. So now the Tanya gives proof that each grade has its own standard of truth, as it were. The attribute of truth is an unbound inheritance. There's no upper limit as it extends to the highest levels. All the lower levels are as nothing compared with those that are higher than it. So if then truth is found on all levels despite their disparity, then we must conclude that the standard of truth on each level is relative to the core of that level. So where a tzaddik has his perfect truth, that every thought, speech, and action, and every feeling is guided and directed towards Hashem. But the Beinoni also has his level of truth, and just because he falls, chas v'shalom, we're not talking about a Beinoni when we're talking about falling. Saying if somebody has challenges and difficulties that enter his mind, I said before that the person loses the night before. So that's not talking about a Beinoni, but just to clarify that. So let's say Beinoni, his burning desire and fiery love for God dissipates a little bit when he leaves the minyan, when he leaves shul after davening, but it doesn't make a difference. He's coming back every single day. He's refocusing and re-energizing and coming back and doing the same and having the same challenges and struggles, constantly striving to reach higher. So that's his truth. And what does Alter Rebbe say? As is known to the students of Kabbalah, so the students of the Kabbalah used to learn the hidden wisdom that the quality that is in the head and intellect, so that's the highest level, within lower grades is inferior to the soles and feet. And what's the very lowest level within the very lowest level within the higher grades? So our sages have said that the feet of the chayes, angels, surpass all those lower levels than them, including the highest degree within those lower levels. What does this mean? That the attribute of truth is measured according to the standards of each level. We may thus conclude that the divine service of Beinoni is considered true service relative to their level. Although when compared to the service of a tzaddik, it's not considered truth since it passes after prayer. So the takeaway for today is being an intermediate person, an intermediate man. A Beinoni might not be as perfect as a tzaddik, but it's your perfection. Being a Beinoni is how you shine, and this is your mission. No, it's like if a little kid who's 5 years old does something special, you're like, that's amazing. But if a 10 or 12-year-old kid did that, you're like, what are you doing? And then when they do something, that's incredible, very special. Did this, you learn that, whatever it is. So as we graduate to higher level, there's obviously more expected of us. That doesn't mean that when a Beinoni is on his particular level, when he does what he has to do with a full heart and a full focus and attention, that is the ultimate. So nobody's going to ask you, you know the famous story. No one's going to ask you why you weren't Avraham Avinu or Moshe Rabbeinu. They're going to ask you why it weren't Larry and Michael and Chaim. We have to do what we have to do to the fullest potential possible and try to take that energy, that inspiration that we reached during the davening, take that with us throughout the rest of the day, especially on a Friday. Hey, Jeff, especially, and a Jeff, and a Yitz. We have to reach the Yitz potential, especially on a Friday, a short Friday, where we could take that inspiration, that love, that burning love of Hashem that we reach during the Shema and Shemona Esrei, prepare for Shabbos Kodesh, and then when we reach and we enter into the holy Shabbos Kodesh, then everything that we do is already elevated. So we're bringing it to that level, and we're even striving even higher. So every single day and every single moment, we could live that perfection, that truth, that our personal reality of where we are, despite what enters our mind. As the Alter Rebbe said, we can work on that too. But obviously, every thought, speech, and action has to be dedicated towards Hashem. It's not always going to be easy, but it's easiest during davening and during learning. So we already have a step ahead, those of us that are at Minyan. Because when you're together with a Minyan and you're davening with your Talis and Tefillin, if you're doing it on your own or if you're not doing it, you got a lot of catching up to do. It's harder. So start your day off right, davening with a Minyan, learning a shtickle, a little bit of Torah, and take that inspiration with you throughout the rest of the day and throughout the rest of your life. Have a wonderful Shabbos, Chavre. Great to see everybody. All the best.